Right, so today we got to start by talking about more craziness, but this is craziness that I think anyone paying attention expected. So it's not too surprising to people like me, but it's probably surprising to people, normies, in that from Tom Quiggin linking to a story from Spencer Fernando saying Trudeau says not following the rules could mean prison time. Now, again, that is a very scary precedent, but again, like I've been pointing out for a long time now, the government, at least the government as a whole, because it's not every government, but it is most governments, in that, especially in Canada, the solution to the lockdowns not working, the solution to the mask mandates not working, um, is always just double down. It's never, yeah, there's clearly no correlation between the lockdowns and the mask mandates doing anything. Let's just stop doing it. When has that ever been their solution? Well, it never has, right? It never has. The government has never admitted they're wrong about anything. I mean, Jason Kenney admitted, oh, it was so wrong to close small businesses. We really screwed that one up, guys. And then, a week later, he closes a bunch of small businesses. Again, like at no point has their solution been, admitting they're wrong and actually going through with it, right? So the problem again is that the lockdowns still aren't working. Like the lockdowns still aren't working. I mean, you look at Ontario; they're doubling down on their lockdown. They just had a 28-day lockdown. Now they're in a new one. I mean, the GTA I think's been in for even longer. Now it's Ontario wide. Quebec just imposed another draconian lockdown. So again, the solutions have always been just keep doing more of the same. And these people are so desperate to not want to have to admit they're wrong, they would literally kill people to not have to admit they're wrong. And again, to the average person, they think that that's crazy, but anybody that's paid attention at all to history knows that that is the case, right? Anybody that has the minute amount of knowledge when it comes to history and just basic human psychology as well, I think they're perfectly fine letting people die to not have to admit they're wrong about something that could potentially ruin their career, right? So again, like the whole point here being is that this is surprising to absolutely no one that's paying attention, because again, when you double down from a position, well, you got to come off as a lot stronger, and when you double down again, you got to come up even stronger yet. So again, like when we have, what is it, $1,000 fines for people that aren't following the rules, well, what's the next step? It's got to be jail time, right? It's got to be jail time. So again, this is surprising to absolutely no one paying attention, but the craziest point of this whole situation, I believe, is that you have a very large percentage of the population. I don't think it's the majority. It seems like it's the majority, but I don't think it is. That want to throw people in jail for leaving their house, for wanting to earn a living. And this is where we're at. Like, and this is the thing too. Like, anybody not speaking up about this whole situation, they are some of the most gutless people out there. At least when it comes to this stuff. Because again, if you're silent when there's something going on right now to where people want you thrown in jail for leaving your house without the government's permission, people want you thrown in jail for making social media posts that go against the government narrative. And again, the reason I bring that up is, number one, this stuff. And number two, how many people do you hear talk about, oh, we got to do what Australia did? Yeah, we got to do what Australia did. Well, again, Australia was throwing people in jail for leaving their house without the government's permission and arresting people for making Facebook posts questioning the lockdown. So again, if you want to do what Australia did, then you should be screaming from the rooftops that you want people thrown in jail for leaving their house without the government's permission and making social media posts questioning the lockdowns. Because again, you don't get to have this all hunky-dory, I want to save lives. No, you got to throw in the caveat that you want people thrown in jail for disagreeing with this garbage. And again, when you bring it like that, all of a sudden people's mindset changes. But um, that's kind of the crazy thing. But again, like I say, like if we keep going down the road we're going, which again, I personally think that enough people are going to wake up eventually. Like I think it's inevitable. The problem is that it may be too late. I think that you could make an argument for that, but we can't keep going like this forever. It's not possible to keep going like this forever. So eventually something's going to have to give, because again, it's highly likely, at least the quote unquote experts have said at this point, that this whole virus situation is going to become endemic, which means it's never going to go away, or at the very least, it will probably mutate to becoming something less deadly, less able to spread. Um, but this is probably going to be with us for a long time, right? And I think the other thing that really boggles my mind in this whole situation is that you have all these people that they're so mad at you, for not wanting to go along with these restrictions, but yet they're completely silent on China. Like this is the way that you know that another one of the reasons why these people are complete zealots is that they literally want you thrown in jail for seeing your family, or leaving the house, but yet they completely let China off the hook when they knowingly let this spread to the rest of the world. Like, this is just proof that, again, these people are complete ideological zealots, like complete ideological zealots. Anybody supporting the lockdowns at this point is either so ignorant that they have no idea what they're talking about, which is most of the general population, or they're just complete zealots, right? So anyway, this is something that really would not surprise me one bit if we see this stuff going on, because again, like, the government has no place to turn. Like, they've made it very clear they're not going to admit they're wrong on the lockdowns and on the mask mandates. So again, the only place they have to turn is to double down. But doubling down from $1,000 fines is maybe larger fines, but eventually it's going to be jail time, right? Eventually it's going to be jail time. So again, the time is now to speak up. Like, the time is now. This is from Jason Kenny saying, "Thank you to parents, students, and teachers who are making learning from home possible this week and prior to Christmas in those grades 7 to 12. We look forward to schools reopening for in-person classes as planned this coming Monday, January 11th. Now, I bring this up for a couple of reasons. The first one being is that this seems to be hinting around that they will be reopen, or at least getting rid of, not reopening, but getting rid of the restrictions that they imposed about a month ago now, that are set to expire, and that is good news. But again, like, do I actually think they're going to go through with that? I really don't know. My guess is that they will allow the restrictions to lapse, but they will, increase. They will allow these businesses that have been shut down to reopen, but there's going to be even more restrictions on top of the ones there already were, which is just going to destroy more businesses, right? Um, and again, like, if they were going to renew the restrictions, well, why in the world would they reopen schools? Now, again, I'm not trying to think of it from an actual real logical perspective, because a real logical perspective, you reopen pretty much everything. I'm trying to think of it from their perspective. Like, from their perspective, why would you reopen schools but not allow gyms and stuff like that to reopen, right? Even though we know that gyms are incredibly unlikely to spread, and we know that there is some spread at schools, right? Um, so anyway, that seems to be good news, but again, nothing at this point would surprise me. Like I say, absolutely nothing would surprise me. The other thing I wanted to talk about is all these complete idiots that are paranoid about the schools reopening. That's, namely the people in the comments here, like this person right here. I'm a high school student, and I need to say that I'm not comfortable going back to school soon. The cases will surge if we go back, and then we will have to go into more strict lockdown again. Please reconsider this. I don't feel safe. Just wait another week at least. Losing faith. Again, this is the ignorance of the average person. We are 10 months into this, and oh, just another week. Like, how stupid can you possibly be? We're 10 months into this. Oh, we just need one more week. Like, how this person graduates high school, how they have an IQ above 70 is beyond me. Like, this is absolutely insane that we actually have people that this is what scares me so much about society, is that we actually have people like this. The death rate for people under the age of 20 is not only less than the flu, it's significantly less than the flu. It is literally like 1 in 100,000. The levels of paranoia and just sheer delusion that you need to be paranoid about this virus, when if you are in school right now, it knows no bounds. Like, there is people that are in psych wards. There is people with schizophrenia that have, their heads on, that have a clear mind than people like this. And again, asymptomatic spread is incredibly rare. That's the argument they always come up with. Oh, you're going to spread it to grandma and they're going to die. No, that's not happening. There's nothing that shows that, right? That there's several recent studies that have came out debunking that. So, and again, I've talked about them, but again, this is why we are in the mess we are in, because idiots like this. And again, look, 171 likes. 171 likes. Now, again, a lot of the comments are people posting about how stupid that they are, but again, this is the ignorance of the average person. They genuinely believe, again, the flu significantly more deadly. Have they ever been paranoid about the flu? Was anybody paranoid about swine flu? No. I was in school for swine flu. Again, no one was talking about shutting down the schools. Like again, like it's just pure and utter emotional delusions. Like just pure delusion. It's impossible to overstate how ignorant these people are. The next thing to bring up is from Dan Bongino posting this. Uh, it is media malpractice that the contrast of California and Florida is not the lead story in every major media outlet in the country right now. One of the most locked down places on earth has more than double the case rate of one of the least locked down, and there is complete silence. Again, this is the reason why anybody's still trusting the news, anybody's still trusting these idiot government doctors is a complete idiot. Because again, just imagine if these numbers showed the opposite. Just imagine if the numbers showed the opposite. It would be the biggest story in the news. But when it shows this, nobody cares. This is the only thing you need to tell that the people in charge don't care about the truth. The people in charge don't care about the truth. Again, it gets really tiring having to point these things out over and over again, having to point out these kind of examples over and over again. But again, we're going to have to keep doing it until things change, right? We're going to have to keep doing it until things change. So then the last thing I wanted to bring up is from David Jacobs saying, should we as Canadians be satisfied with Trudeau's lackluster vaccine rollout? With just over half the population of the UK, we have 19 times fewer or less people vaccinated. With 4 times the population of Israel, we have 5 times fewer people vaccinated. Now, again, I don't really care about the whole vaccine thing personally because I think you're insane to get it. But again, if you do want to get it, and given the fact of how many people do want to get it, what's going on here? Like, what's going on? Well, what's going on here is very simple. If the government runs something, it's going to be run in a lackluster, substandard way, right? I don't know why this is something that, again, so many people still don't seem to figure out. That, again, if the government runs something, it will be done in a lackluster, substandard way. And why is that? Is because is anybody gonna lose their job if it's done in a lackluster, substandard way? No, it's not going to happen, right? Patty Haydu almost cost taxpayers, what was it, $150 million? I heard today it came out because she almost, just got caught at the last minute, ordered some faulty tests. Gonna lose their job over it? No, right? But again, if this was if people running things were people that would lose their jobs if they didn't do a good job, like in a private setting, this would be done a lot better, right? This would be done a lot better. So again, like I just love all these complete and utter zombies, complete idiots talking about, oh, when it comes to Jason Kenney and Alberta, even though Alberta is not actually that bad, they just have Kenney derangement syndrome, so whatever he does is bad. The problem is government. The problem is government. Like, how do you expect people who are paid whether or not they do a good job to do a good job? Who would work harder if they knew that they were going to get paid one way or the other? Like, again, like the people that believe this are so stupid, it's not even funny. Like, it's not even funny how dumb some of these people can be. And again, the other thing pointed out here too is that the vaccine isn't even making that much of a difference. Right? Like, it's not even making much of a difference. But anyway, that's a different story in and of itself. So again, if you liked the video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you check out those links below. Follow me on those other platforms. If you haven't already, you can donate if you want to do that as well. Again, I appreciate whatever support I can get. But like I say, check out those links below and stay tuned for more.